This is Nikki Collins.
Jordan Canada.
Essence Carson.
Liz Candace.
Imani Media Stafford. And you're listening to WNBA Weekly.
WNBA fans, welcome to another episode of WNBA Weekly. My name is Kyle Haywood, and as you can tell if you're on YouTube, I am joined today by my good friend Jason Snow. Jason, what's up, dude?
Dude, not much. Excited to be back on. Excited to have a co-host. Had to fly solo last week, which was fun, but also not as good for the fans. The smaller of a portion of the screen that is my face, the better the fan engagement is, I'm quite sure. So, but I'm doing good. How are you doing, Kyle?
Dude, I'm doing so well. Just like Steve said, we've got faces for podcasting. You know, to be completely honest, dude, I thought your episode last week flying solo rocked, dude. I thought you.
Well, thank you.
It was good.
Thank you.
I
had fun. Hopefully people enjoyed it, and we're still figuring out this video thing. I think that video turned out a lot better than the first one that we did, just with some of the audio issues that we had, and hopefully this one will turn out better. We're we're getting some practice. It's kind of like we're at training camp right now, getting ready for the season, getting ready to go.
Dude, that's perfect. Exactly, because teams are in, they're getting some kinks worked out. We're getting some kinks worked out. So when the season hits, dude, it's full steam.
We're just
ahead.
clicking. Yep.
Exactly. It's funny you say that, and I glance over at I've got my second monitor here, checking out our levels, making sure that it's not that your audio isn't coming through. So I think we're good to go. Hopefully that'll be good. Speaking of training camp, dude, we've got some serious news that's been coming out of several different training camps.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not following, just WNBA on Twitter lately, not just the league Twitter, I'm just talking just WNBA, following all the teams and some of the media personalities who are at training camps. You're missing out because some of the first videos are emerging from training camp, both one-on-one interviews as well as just videos of different drills and scrimmages going on. And dude, it's just got me so juiced. It's got me so pumped up to for the actual season coming up. I'm so amped about it, dude. But we've got there's a few actual things that we should probably talk about coming out of training camp. But before we hit all that, Jason, what I want to talk about is the fact that because of training camp, we're what are we today? 20 days away, something like that from the start of the WNBA season? Yeah,
I think it's 20 days from when this will release. I have to do the math real quick in my head, but yeah, it's 20 days, 19 days from when this releases. We're right there. I mean, it's go time. We're weeks away.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm absolutely stoked that we are able to have the season's right around the corner. Training camp starting is kind of just I don't know. It's like that when when you're playing sports when you're younger and the warm-up music hit. You kind of amped up and you're ready to go out and your blood starts pumping, your adrenaline's going a little bit and you're heading out to warm up. That's kind of how I feel training camp is for the WNBA season. Really excited about it. So,
oh yeah.
But let's talk a couple specifics that are coming out of training camp. First and foremost, huge shout out to Dorothy Gentry, who was able to hit up the Dallas Wings practice and got a video of one Skylar Diggins-Smith, who yes, she was at training camp.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, a lot of people kind of last that we all heard of her was, she's pregnant and she's going to be missing, part of 2019. We don't know how much. Anytime that you become a new parent, your total your life obviously completely changes, and so you just never know. There's a lot of question marks anytime that you're preparing to become a parent or even having additional kids moving forward. But she's there at training camp. She's only 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks away or out from having her son, and just super, super excited for her. Congratulations to Skydig and her husband, and just nothing but well wishes to their family. But dude, this means I'm excited because for Dallas fans, this is some good news that Skydig's actually at training camp. Obviously, she's not going to be ready to go. She just had a baby a couple weeks ago. But I don't know, dude. How are you feeling? If you're a Dallas Wings fan right now, how are you feeling about this news?
About this news, I'm ecstatic. Seeing her at camp. I mean, I remember when my wife had our first child. Like, I didn't want to get off the couch for 6 weeks. Like, I can't even imagine what she's going through physically, and so for her to be there, for her to be practicing, that's a great sign. It shows that her body's probably recovering quickly. She's feeling good. She's feeling like she can be active, and that just means good things. I mean, different people's bodies during pregnancy are going to respond differently. So seeing her up, being active, being part of drills. That goes a long way towards her being able to come in earlier in the season. And Dallas is going to need that. I mean, Dallas had a coaching change. They still have a question mark over Liz Cambage's name. And to have Sky Diggs out, that could really put, a big damper on Dallas's season. Obviously, Dallas had some hope last year. They had some good games, some good wins. But obviously, they didn't have quite the whole package. And so to lose pieces and to have a change in coaching might be frightening. So to have Sky Diggs come back, maybe even as early as late June, early July. I don't know what her timeline is, and I'm not going to put that on her. I mean, she can come back whenever she feels like she's ready. But to have that hope of her coming back, I think gives a nice little spark through the Dallas fan base of, hey, we have some hope, we have some consistency, something that we loved that last year. We're going to see it again this year. I think all in all, this is great news for Dallas fans.
Absolutely. In fact, Jason, let's go ahead and let's show the video itself.
Yeah.
So here is Skylar Diggins-Smith with her announcement from training camp itself.
I just want to say I'm so excited for this season. First and foremost, I'm so excited to be a new mom. I'm excited. Y'all see I'm missing something right now. I had a son a few weeks ago, and I'm working my way back in. Like I said, I'm so excited to be a new mom. I'm so excited about the season. And for me, it's just working my way back. I'm not 100% yet, but when I am 100%, y'all will see me on the floor sometime. And I plan on that to be this year. I can't speak for certain if I would be out on the floor in game uniform this year, but I want you to know that's my plan. So I'm trying not to really set any timelines for myself because I'll be disappointed if I don't meet those. So I really don't have any expectations except just to come, get better every day, and do as much as I can do until I can do it all, until I feel like myself. So thank y'all for the support, and shout out to all the Wings fans who sent messages and asked about me. The baby's doing great, and my husband and I will be making an announcement for more details on pictures and all those things. So thank you to everybody that supported me. Thank you guys for always following the Wings, and I look forward to a great season this year working under Brian with the girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it, guys. Obviously, just like she said, she doesn't want to put a timeline on herself because that's just not fair. You don't know really what the future holds for her. But obviously super excited for her and for the whole Dallas Wings family and organization as well. I'm excited. I'm hoping that we're going to see Sky Dig on the court quite a bit this season.
Oh yeah.
Any last thoughts on Skylar Diggins-Smith?
No, I mean, just congratulations to her on having a baby. I think we missed that announcement on the show, and we should have brought it up when she had her kids. So congratulations to her, and best of luck to Dallas. And even if she doesn't start out the season playing, which we're pretty sure she won't start the season playing, she's going to be involved. She's going to be a vocal leader. I'd be surprised if she wasn't on the sideline of every game. Even if she's not suiting up, she's going to be there rallying the troops. So best of luck to Dallas, and let's see what they can put together this year. And hopefully they can stay strong until she gets back and kind of gets back out in the court and leads the troops again. So
absolutely. Let's keep going into some of these training camp details. One return that I am personally super excited about is Emma Meesman returning to the Washington Mystics training camp. Officially, she's here. She's gonna be part of the 2019 season. Jason, my feelings about my girl Emma and how excited I get when I see her balling out. Dude, Mystics, they might be a team to watch out for. I'm not even gonna say might. They are a team to watch out for in 2019 because you've got someone who with the caliber like Emma Meesman coming back to join a team that made the WNBA finals last year. Add into all of that the fact that some of the other top tier teams, like a Seattle, are missing some of their pieces. Or a Phoenix is going to miss Diana Taurasi for at least 6 or 7 weeks of the season. So Who knows? Who knows? The Washington could really get out to some really solid. If they get out to a hot start at the beginning of the season, I could see them coming in as a top 2 seed heading into the playoffs. And man, like I really think that there's a lot to be had for Washington. Jason, what are you most excited about with Emma Meesman returning?
I'm excited because of what she does to the other players when she's on the court. Emma Meesman is a fantastic player. She gets points herself, but Elena Deladon plays better when Emma Meesman's out there. Tolliver plays better when Meesman's out there, and we saw that 2 years ago in the playoffs. And last year, I mean, obviously Seattle was a formidable team, but does Washington win last year's finals with Meesman in? I think it's probable. I'm not going to say definitely. Obviously, Seattle's a great team. But now you take adding Meesman to Washington really having no bad news during the offseason. We didn't have any big losses, any big injuries, things like that. So you have a Washington team who's basically coming back the same plus Meesman versus a Phoenix team who's going to miss Diana Taurasi for half the season, probably get a lower seed because of it. And a Seattle team that is missing Breanna Stewart. Like, really, Washington should be the odds-on favorite and probably is the odds-on favorite to at least win the East and then, really have a good shot at taking it to the WNBA finals this year. So I'm excited. I know you're a big Meesman fan. You have been ever since we started the show. So I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts too, Kyle.
Yeah, I think I jinxed Emma Meesman last season because we were talking about with our New Year's resolutions episode that we did right around the start of 2018. My New Year's resolution, we had one resolution for each team, and that could be for an individual, a coach, a player, the team, the organization as a whole, whatever. Mine was for Emma Meesman to make the All-Star game, and she replied to that with, "I'm not going to play." So I was like, that was the worst, but I cannot wait. And to be honest, if we're being honest, with a lot of other big names that aren't going to be around this season, whether it's through their retirement, personal leaves like Maya Moore, injuries like Stewie and DT, like Emma, that All-Star game's wide open. I'm just saying you could make good on your 2018 resolution from me. I'm just saying you could do it.
Better late than never. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm excited. I think that this is big for Washington. I hope that they put the pieces together. I hope that that things mesh well with this team because they've got the talent. They've got the talent. A young Ariel Atkins who played phenomenal last season. You got Tolliver, Cloud, Deladon. You got so much talent on that team. If they mesh well, that's a scary team to play. So excited about that. Let's move on. We got another training camp. I guess you could say training camp / injury update. Jason, I'm gonna kick this one over to you. Let's talk our girl D-Rob, one of our personal favorites of the show, Danielle Robinson. I want to give us the lowdown on her latest news.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, D-Rob is one of the original friends of the show. You guys had the chance to interact with her when you went out for the WNBA road trip that really started out this whole podcast in general, back when she was playing for Phoenix. She was in Minnesota last year, had a great year, hit her first three-pointer. If you don't remember, that was a big moment.
The three-point ball that's a feature in her game now. That's a feature in her game.
Part of the toolkit. But yeah, so she obviously had a bad injury. I can't remember the date. I think it was early August last year. Had a season-ending injury that actually ended up being pretty bad. She tore 2 ligaments in her ankle. Had to go through reconstructive surgery. Pretty big deal. And so there were some questions about how she would be. And a story. This was from the Washington Post. Washington Post put out the story basically saying that she's back at 100% and feeling healthy. Odyssey Sims, who is now her teammate in Minnesota after the trade, she went from Los Angeles up to Minnesota. Odyssey Sims says of Danielle, she says, Danielle is very crafty, and she's going to be fun to play with this season just because she moves great without the ball. She pushes the ball. She knows how to start and stop, and that's very important. Obviously, that's one of the features of D-Rob's game is her movement. She's quick. She so switches fast, directions.
Dude. You see it on TV, but live.
Oh yeah,
she's a flash, dude. She's so fast. Anyway,
yeah, she is, and she has big shoes to fill. She's gonna probably be stepping into that starting spot of Lindsay Whalen, who retired last year. And so an important component of a Coach Reeve team that really wants to get back into the championship discussion. So it'll be interesting to watch her go, but we're excited for D-Rob. We're excited that she's healthy. Like you were pointing out, in a season that's missing some of the biggest names from last year, having some new space for new people to break out and new people to put together really good games. This is the time to get it done. So this is the time for D-Rob to play her style of basketball and hopefully make a big impact with it.
Absolutely. On a team that still is kind of moving into that next wave of what they're going to look like as a team, with Waylon and Maya Moore both gone. D-Rob, she really does add a lot of value with what she brings to the table. So I'm excited as anybody to see D-Rob getting back out on the court. Super pumped to have her come back. So we're looking forward to that as part of the 2019 season as well. But we've got some more news, Jason. We got a re-signing for LA. I'm going to let you take this one as well. Chelsea Gray re-signing with LA.
Yeah, and this is an interesting one because it seemed like LA was dragging their feet. Chelsea Gray, a returning All-Star from last season, still had not been signed. If I remember right, I believe they had sort of first rights at her and nothing was happening. She was just kind of floating. Nobody else was picking her up, but she wasn't re-signing with LA yet. Took a long time to get there, but I think that was some office stuff, just trying to make sure they've got cap space and what they needed to do to get ready for that. But Penny Toller, the GM for the Sparks, put out this in a press release, says Chelsea is one of the best point guards in the WNBA. She's a winner and a leader on and off the court, and I'm thrilled to re-sign her and solidify her as a cornerstone of our franchise and our future success. So obviously, this is a great not pickup. I mean, it's a great re-sign for Los Angeles, but it also brings up a question mark, which is Los Angeles is essentially a team with 6 starters. You've got
at least.
at least 6 starters minimum. I would start with the Agwumbake sisters and Candace Parker. I don't know how you sit any of those 3. I don't know how you sit Chelsea Gray, returning All-Star. I don't know how you sit Alana Beard, your one
Reigning
season removed defensive. Did you win last year?
She was back-to-back defensive player of the year.
Yeah. So you can't sit her. So that's 5. But then you also picked up Kalani Brown, and you've got some other players that rode the bench last year that are ready to step into starting spots. I mean, this feels like the Lynx of 2017, was it? Mm-hmm. Where really their second team was kind of just starters that ended up on the Lynx also, and then they ended up scattering and starting all over the league and being star players at all the different teams.
Yep.
This Sparks team feels like that, where really, I mean, they've probably got 2 squads worth of starters. So, they're running 8, 9, 10 deep in terms of players that would start pretty much on any team in the league.
I will say this, there are teams in the league right now that would love to have the 7th and 8th players off the bench in LA. They would love to start them. And LA has the opportunity to, go 8, 9, 10 deep without really losing a ton of production. And so, yeah, man, it's crazy. That is a loaded Sparks team. Obviously, you've got a few moving pieces. You got some new faces. You got a new coach. So again, continuity is going to be huge, and the ability for that team to mesh. But re-signing Chelsea Gray is big time. And this is just it's weird that we're not seeing anything on the Cam Beige front, which I think is still technically in play as far as what we've been able to see. But dude, it's training camp. Nobody signed her. And they weren't able to work out a deal with Dallas. And so who knows? We may not see Liz Cambage in the 2019 season of the WNBA, which is in and of itself really, really sad. But, kudos to Dallas for trying to hold their ground and being able to, see what they can get. And just, unfortunately, nobody's been able to really work anything out on either side here. So who knows? If something goes through with Cam Bay, obviously it's going to shake things up for at least Dallas, potentially LA and several other teams that might be involved with the trade. So who knows? It's pretty exciting, but I agree. I do think that LA is just stacked right now. And they were stacked last year, but I feel like they're more stacked this year, right? Like they're just loaded with talent, especially in their front court. Having Chelsea Gray re-sign in their backcourt is huge because they have so much talent and size in the front court. You got to get somebody to be able to handle the ball and distribute to all the weapons and tools that they've got on the court, and Chelsea Gray is that. While being a threat herself, she averaged like 15 points a game last season. So. So we'll see. I'm excited about Chelsea Gray. I think there's a lot there. Any last thoughts on her?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of creates a storyline where perhaps the two favorites to go into the finals are like Los Angeles and Washington, which you wouldn't have expected, I think, at the end of last year, but is starting to make sense now as you're looking at these squads come together. And these are two squads that are very focused on getting to that point. Part of the story that came out of Washington, Elena Deladon told a reporter that our team watched a video last night of that moment of Seattle celebrating. It was kind of good to get that feeling again, the pit in your stomach of not wanting that to ever happen again. So obviously Washington starting out, they sort of said that they're not thinking of the end of last season in negative terms, in terms of that's where they want to start. Yeah. The level of play they had at the end of last season is where they want to start this season. So obviously they're focused. Chelsea Gray, when she announced her re-signing, also came out and said, I'm happy to be back with such a great organization. The fans have always shown me so much love. This group is special on and off the court. We're on a mission to win another championship, and we have the group to get it done. Hard to argue with her there, but I mean, these are teams that they're already 3 weeks before training or 3 weeks before the season starts. They've already got the finals circled on their calendar. So this is gonna be interesting to watch and to see if these two teams really live up to the talent they've got.
It's wild. Man, it's crazy because I feel like every season that we've been a part of the show, we feel more and more knowledgeable of what's going on in the league. And yet every season I look at, my rankings, I have kind of this running list of rankings of like, who's my top team, my favorite to win it all versus, who do I think is going to end up a bottom seed? And dude, Jason, I'm telling you right now, like I will have so many bad misses that and having really, really studied over this, I will have so many bad misses already. Like I can predict that because there are so many moving parts, there's things, people coming back from injuries, people coming back from, having a baby, there's trades that happen mid-season, there's injuries that happen mid-season, unfortunately. There's a lot of moving parts right now. And so it's really hard to determine what's going to happen at the end of next season. But I'm excited, dude. I'm excited for the start of this season. So speaking of, there's one more way that you were able to watch the WNBA. We've talked about League Pass. We've talked about the ESPN coverage and the CBS Sports picking up 40 games as well. But we have one last announcement that we've seen as far as the coverage goes. And that is the Twitter streaming schedule. Twitter has agreed with the WNBA. They come to an agreement to cover several games this upcoming season. So there's more ways that you're able to capture to be able to basically watch the WNBA for free. So Jason, I think we're probably throwing that up on the screen roughly right now. Or
so.
It's
probably right next to your head. We haven't done it yet, but in post I'll get it there.
Sides, right? Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited. Jason, what are your thoughts on the Twitter schedule coming out?
I mean, it's great. They did the same thing last year. I think they picked up a few more games this year, which is obviously a good direction to go. We want more and more games to be out there. But the thing I love about this is that it lends itself towards sharing. So, for example, I watch college football. I'm a college football fan. I've got my teams there. When I'm watching a game, it's pretty much me and my television.
Right.
Whereas on Twitter, the social aspect of it, the ability for me to share the stream so that other people on my timeline are seeing that, the ability for me to comment on it, like it, do all those different things that you do with tweets, I think is good for the spreading of the league because somebody can say, hey, I'm watching this thing. And somebody else who's just, chilling at home, scrolling through Twitter, they can stop, watch a game and get hooked. Yeah. I think this is a great thing. I love seeing it. I think it's good for the league. And personally, it's good for me because even if I'm at work, I can still watch the games easy enough. Obviously, I can do that with the League Pass as well, but some of the TV stations, I can't quite do that as easily. So it's good for me in personal ways, but it's also, I think it's good for the league, and it's good for the league in terms of being able to share the product.
Absolutely. Speaking of Twitter, everybody, if you aren't following us on Twitter, you need to hop on right now. If you don't have a Twitter, if you're listening to this show and you don't have a Twitter, Join Twitter simply for the fact that you can be a part of the WNBA discussions that are on there. You don't have to follow a lot of people. You don't have to know a whole lot. It's pretty self-explanatory. Follow a few WNBA accounts and just have a steady stream of information coming for all things WNBA and women's basketball. You can find us on Twitter at WNBA Weekly. You can also find us on Facebook. Just go to the search bar, type in WNBA Weekly. We just figure that's probably the easiest way than saying facebook.com/WNBA. You don't need to do that. Just search bar, WNBA Weekly. You'll find us. If you are interested in being a part of the show in a little bit more, in a little bit deeper manner, I guess I could say, rather other than just listening to us, following us on social media, we do have a Patreon page. As always, just a reminder, the money that comes through the patrons, that all goes right back into the show. It goes on the production quality, better equipment, better coverage opportunities that we've got coming up, just different things like that. None of that's going to us, into any of our bank accounts or into our pocket. It's all going right back into the show itself. So if you appreciate what we're doing and want to help us provide the best coverage in the world for the best athletes in the world, go ahead and check out our Patreon page as well. Just again, patreon.com, and we're on there at WNBA Weekly. Jason, any last thoughts before we go ahead and sign off for this week?
No, just appreciate all the fan support and be watching out. We've got, I know Steve today took multiple interviews from the Washington Mystics. We're excited. We might try to weave those together into kind of one audio large clip type thing. Yeah. But whatever we do, I haven't gone through and sort of torn that audio up yet. I'll probably be doing it tonight after I get this podcast out. But we've got those. I just saw a message from Steve literally 1 minute ago. He's got another interview lined up for us tomorrow with a different team.
I'm checking on my phone right here on the YouTube channel. Look at my broken phone case, everybody. See, I'm not using your Patreon money for my phone case. It's got a busted up phone case, all right? Yeah, all right. Yeah, but we've got some more interviews coming.
Sounds like there's another interview tomorrow that's lined up. I'm not sure if that's the Phoenix one or not, but we're getting these interviews. We're getting big players. Not to be a spoiler, but one of them might have the initials EDD that we've got on the show coming up soon. So it's good things are happening. So we're probably going to be pushing out a lot of episodes. Not sure if those are going to be YouTube episodes or not. So if you're only watching on YouTube, which I don't know if there's any of you out there that are in that base, but if that's the only way you're getting it, you might want to check our podcast feeds, just because I might be throwing audio out because I can get it done quicker than video in terms of these quick blast team highlights, get some interviews up and out type thing. So, and then Patrons, if we're doing delayed releases, if we've got an interview and we're not releasing it until a few days later, as soon as I'm done processing the audio, I'll throw it up, just the interview itself on Patreon. So if you want first access to what we hear talking to the players, you'll get it there on Patreon. So
absolutely. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead, if you are listening on iTunes or any of the other pod grabbers, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Give us a rating. Give us a 5-star rating if you're on iTunes, and leave us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that. That helps push our podcast and our show a little bit higher up the ranks in sports podcasts specifically, so that more people are going to be able to catch it and hopefully become fans of the league like you are. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button there as well. Go ahead and leave us a comment as far as where you happen to be watching the show from. We'd love to hear from you and get to know some of our listener base a little bit better. If you ever have any things that you need to share with the show that you're interested in talking with us about, any opportunities that you'd like to discuss with us, go ahead and shoot us an email, WNBAweekly@gmail.com. But for WNBA Weekly, I'm Kyle Haywood.
I'm Jason Snow.
And we got you next time.